it's become very critical, and not perhaps in the traditional sense of having a story and putting a story out, but more in the sense of a storyteller is someone who can engage an audience. And the big difference today from our industry 10, 15 years ago is people have so much more choice as to what they listen to, what they consume, what they look at, what they contribute to. And if you can't hold somebody's attention, you don't succeed. And the art of the storytelling, the traditional art of the storytelling, becomes much more important today. The one that most impressed me was I was recently in China, and this was a campaign for Johnson & Johnson. They had identified through looking at social media there was a real problem for mothers who were nursing babies, wanted to return to work, had nowhere to express milk, and they created a community to pressure employers, governments, public spaces to provide suitable places that they would do that. Clearly there's a sales objective behind this as well, but it came across that the company had discovered something, had got a group of people together, had done something about it, and there was an ongoing benefit. And what I liked about that story is it wasn't just a message, it wasn't just something that happened once, but it had a series of different phases, and it demonstrated a commitment of the company over time. And you became interested because you wanted to see if they would succeed, if this group of mothers would succeed. And you know, I'm not the target audience for this, but it was a very impressive way for me of a company telling a story about a community that was effectively a story about itself and its own attitude. I think that's one that stuck in my mind of recent months. I think every organization needs myths and stories about itself. And it's very difficult when you merge organizations, or you work with multiple organizations, to explain kind of who you are, what you stand for. And often if you see companies' mission statements, value statements, they're very abstract, or they're very generic. And a really successful company has a story about how it started, and a story about how it was founded and what it stood for. And it needs to be quite concrete. And if more companies told stories, and less companies made generic abstract statements about their mission and values, we'd have a much more effective communications industry.